Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Sideline. My name is Rishi.
My name is Asher Hire.
And the first weekend of free agency has ended. I guess technically ended. It is Sunday. Free agency started Thursday. And some big stuff happened, not just in free agency, but with some trade stuff. But I guess we'll start with the Nuggets. They did make some moves. They did make some roster choices. We already talked about the Kentavious Caldwell-Pope trade that involved Monte Morris and Will Barton going to Washington. Nuggets get back Ish Smith and KCP, but they did make a couple of the moves in free agency. They re-signed Davon Reed, which both of us really like. We thought that was like one of the top priorities that they had to have of the guys that were already on the roster. And then they signed Bruce Brown, which was one of our top guys in free agency. I didn't think we'd be able to get him. I thought he was going to be cost way more than just the base mid-level exception, but he reportedly took a pay cut because he knew that the fit would be really good, and that's exactly why we wanted him, because we thought the fit offensively would be great, and defensively you get a guy who's going to be hounding ball handlers. He's very good around screens. He's aggressive. He plays much bigger than his size, and he's good size, 6'3", 6'4". He played center a lot for Brooklyn last year. Very comfortable being the screener offensively in pick and roll situations, which is one of the, Denver's one of the only other teams in the NBA who runs guards as screeners on ball handlers. So I really like that move. I thought that was an A+ signing from Calvin.
No, that was my bad. I still got COVID, by the way. But that was a fantastic move. I remember DeAndre Jordan was signed like a minute into free agency. The first move was Jokic signing his super max, so that was cool to see. But then they signed DeAndre Jordan. I'm like, all right, really? He was probably the worst player in the NBA last year. There's multiple stats out there of him being a negative plus minus, over the last 3-ish years. On the other hand, when he's off the court, his team's been a positive. So he's been on good teams, but been a negative on all those good teams.
Yeah.
So I saw that. I was kind of disappointed, but it's just the minimum contract. So there's really no risk. I think he's kind of just there as a veteran presence. I think that's kind of gone underrated in terms of building an NBA team. You see the Warriors with JTA, Gary Payton, Draymond, Wiggins, Steph, Otto Porter.
Iguodala is probably what DJ is going to be, honestly.
Yeah, Bielitsa, all these old veterans who I think do have a big part in a championship level team, even if they're not playing. So I think that's what he's kind of in there for. And then other wings started to get signed. Gary Payne went to the Blazers. There were just other targets that seems like the Nuggets could have went and got that signed to other teams. But then I wake up whatever morning that was, maybe it was Friday or Thursday.
I think it was Friday.
Okay,
yeah.
And it definitely was Friday then. And I see that Bruce Brown is a Nugget. And I'm like, oh my God, Calvin Booth pulled it off. Because after that DeAndre signing, I was like, oh man, what is he gonna do now? But he went out and got one of the best mid-level free agents out there. And he's not even mid-level, but he took the mid-level exception, but I think he's better than that. And, the whole league thinks he's better than that. And as you said, I think it's a great fit with all the screens and stuff. He's a great cutter. He's great around the hoop. And then obviously last year, he got his, my lungs are still COVID.
Take your time, you're good.
Breath, but he shot 40% from three last year, especially good in the corners, which is great for Jokic to set up, to find those guys in the corners. So when you add KCP, Bruce Brown, Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, Davon Reed, sign him back, Calvin Booth definitely has that mentality that every Nuggets fan had going into the offseason, which was, add wings, and
Yeah.
they're all great defensively too. So yeah, a great offseason so far for Denver.
Yeah. And like the DeAndre Jordan signing, even like it was crazy because I mean it was literally within like the first 45 seconds of free agency, like 6:01 p.m. Shams tweets out and it's DeAndre Jordan has signed with the Denver Nuggets. And you're like, what? It just didn't make any sense. But obviously, like just the overreaction of the initial signing, initial shock is like, what are we doing? But it is just a veteran contract. I doubt he even is in the rotation like for that long. Like he's probably going to play some minutes, some spot minutes here and there. I would be surprised if he didn't, especially considering how horrible the Nuggets bench was last year without a backup center. So the fact that they were the fact, I think that was just like a safety net kind of thing. And he is extremely cheap, and there has to be a reason that he keeps getting signed. Like you
I know,
said,
right?
there's so many stats that show that he's been a negative player on the court. Um, but he keeps getting signed. Like he was on Brooklyn a couple years ago. He was on the Lakers last year and the Sixers. These are teams with superstars and like championship aspirations, and they wanted DeAndre Jordan on the team. So he has to just be I think he has to be an incredible teammate. Like there's no other reason as to why you sign him. But I think it was Bobby Portis tweeted out. He's like, veterans are like very underrated in the league. Like just guys who
Yeah.
know how to be on a team and how to know how to win. And DeAndre Jordan is definitely one of those guys. He's old. He's obviously not what he used to be with the Clippers and the Lob City days, but he's a guy who just knows his role at this point. I think he knows it. And the thing is, DeAndre Jordan doesn't like try to do anything like crazy. He just isn't very good at anything. So when like I think that's better than like him being not good and trying to like be outside of his game and like he doesn't like do ISOs, he doesn't do post ups, he doesn't do anything. Like he's a strictly just roll to the basket off pick and rolls at this point in his career. So I'm fine with it. I think you're probably counting on a big leap from Zeke Naji this year, which I'm really excited to see. I think he showed that he can play well last year. It just is going to be, can he play the 5 in the bench role? And I think in limited minutes, I don't see why he can't. And now it's just up to, are you going to play Jeff Green or DeAndre Jordan at the bench 5? And I think Michael Malone will definitely tinker with the rotations and see what to do there. So it's definitely not, the best signing, but it's fine. Like you can't win every single battle. Obviously all Nuggets fans would have loved to see Boogie Cousins back, but for I guess kind of the same reason DeAndre Jordan keeps getting signed, there has to be some reason as to why DeMarcus Cousins isn't getting signed every single free agency, even though when he's on the court he produces. Something has to be happening. I don't know what it is, but I wish we could have kept him. I thought that he played well. I mean, I've thought for years that his like antics per se have been super overblown. Even the argument that him and Will Barton had in the Warriors series, like I thought that was overblown too. Like that's just teammates wanting to win. Like that's gonna happen every single year. But yeah, I think it's okay. Like it's fine. But the Bruce Brown signing was definitely the highlight of this free agency period for us Nuggets fans. That was perfect. Some other things Nuggets wise, Vlatko Čančar, we tendered him for his restricted free agency. So if he accepts the tender, if he accepts the qualifying offer, he will be part of the Nuggets next season and he would be the 15th roster spot. But if we rescind the qualifying offer, which is still on the table, Denver does have one extra spot open to use on somebody, whether it's Austin Rivers, whether it is DeMarcus Cousins, if the Nuggets are comfortable running or having 3 centers on the roster, or whether it's going after somebody else on the free agency market, just some other veteran guy. So there is about 15 spots still kind of up in the air, but by all reports, it looks like Vlatko is going to be that last guy, which I love Vlatko. I think him just being a Jokic guy, I think keep him, sure. But I wish that it would be towards someone who had more of an opportunity to play like Austin Rivers.
Right.
But it's once again not the big of a deal. The 15th man really doesn't matter. Like it's not going to change a championship team that much.
Yeah, I mean Austin Rivers, like there's moments where it's like he's just kind of making you mad here and there, but overall I loved his effort, especially defensively. Like he was the only strong perimeter defensive guard, and that's not even really what he was known for, but
Yeah.
he completely kind of changed that. I think like him being cut from the Knicks last year after he dropped 50 something earlier in the season was probably a really big wake up call for him. And he decided, when he got to Denver, that he would put in that extra effort on defense. And then, he was pretty reliable knocking down the corner three, especially above the break, not so much, but yeah, in the corner, he was great. So I think he should definitely be signed by a team. I would have loved for the Nuggets to bring him back, but I think just his leadership and his whatever, his dog mentality, like I think he should be signed by a team. But no, I mean Vlatko, like as you said, the 15th man doesn't really mean too much. I know Kessler Edwards just got cut by or not cut, but they
rescinded the
yeah,
qualifying
exactly.
offer.
They were in the qualifying offer. So he's an unrestricted free agent, 21-year-old, 6'8" forward who showed like a lot of good defensive promise last year. And I think he has really long wingspan. I haven't checked, but it seems like he's really long wingspan.
He is really, really long.
Yeah. But
I don't know why the Nets would do that unless they're planning on re-signing him, which is possible because a lot of the times when teams like decline player options on young or team options on young players, it means they're going to re-sign them. But this is like really late to rescind a qualifying offer on a guy. If you're going to do it, you would just decline the team option and sign him immediately. So it is kind of odd timing. But he would definitely be. I mean, he's kind of like the guy who popped in my head. If you're going to rescind Vlatko's, Kessler Edwards would be phenomenal. I mean, that would just stocking up on wings like that would be.
I know, right?
Perfect.
Like I was gonna say, like it's pretty crowded room now with the wings, which is something not
complete opposite of what last year was.
Yeah, but like still, I don't think you can have too many wings. Like
no, and like that's the thing with the Austin Rivers side. Like he's not a wing, but he's like his role would be a perimeter defender. Denver has a good collection of those now, so they don't need to re-sign. They don't need to rescind the qualifying offer. Like they can go into the season with this roster right now and be okay with it. But I would have just loved to have him back. I think he's had so many great moments in a Nuggets jersey in just 2 years. I mean, Portland in Game 3 of that series, he was phenomenal. The entire series, he was great. He had a lot of good moments in this season too. Definitely, the defense was just so shocking. Like his reputation was that he was kind of like a bad defender, that he would take possessions off and like just was like a strictly offensive kind of guy, like a flamethrower type of dude at least early in his career. And I think you're right that when he got cut from the Knicks after playing pretty well, that was definitely probably a wake up call. And he definitely changed his game into being a defender, which definitely helped the Nuggets out a lot. So it would suck if he wasn't back on the Nuggets, but at the same time, like I think Denver is going to be in good shape without him, especially because like Christian Brown and Austin Rivers at this point are like the same player. Like I think Christian Brown is right now probably just like a more athletic Austin Rivers. I think they're probably shooting wise, at least at the NBA level. I think they're going to be similar levels. Christian Brown's probably a better on ball driver to the rim, better cutter. But defensively, I think they're probably close to similar level. Rivers probably a slight edge, but I think it's fine going into the season without him. But yeah, I think Denver definitely has done a good job this offseason of keeping the players who they want to keep. And some of the other free agents, Facu still is unsigned, but he's playing for FIBA right now in the World Cup qualifiers. I think.
Did you see that pass he had?
Yeah, it's his international highlights are unbelievable. Like
I know.
He legitimately looks like Allen Iverson, and it's hilarious.
Dude, his passing is like literally some of the best I've ever seen from
it's ridiculous.
A player. Like I have no idea how he saw. I think it was Oh my God, is his first name Chris? No,
Carlos Delfino.
Carlos.
I don't
Yeah,
know how he's still playing basketball. I swear I saw him playing
I
in
know.
2012. I don't know how he's still.
I know with like the Rockets or
Yeah,
something. I know, but I don't know how he saw Delfino coming around and then just flings it right behind the head. Insane,
he's
but
so when he plays well. Oh my God, he's so electric. But I don't know. I think also the Nuggets roster this year just did not fit Facu whatsoever. The fact they didn't have a center obviously didn't help. And then when they did get a center, Bones Highland had kind of already taken over the backup role, um, which really did not help him. The spacing was off. It just didn't fit. But I don't know. He said he wants to play in the NBA next season. I don't know if it's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if a team takes a chance on him, signs him to
Wolves.
the Bulls
No,
or the Wolves.
Wolves.
Wolves,
Hopefully
yeah.
the
Wolves
Wolves.
signed they signed Bryn Forbes, another former
Yeah.
Nugget.
Oh my God, I was
Um,
happy to see that. But at least like I, I mean, I feel like Forbes can be good, like with the Bucks and the Spurs when there's like defensive wings around
yeah,
him, because he was just horrible. I mean,
yeah,
literally the worst defender I've ever seen in Nuggets uniform
yeah. It was
last year.
bad.
It was terrible, but you know, to be fair, he had no help
Yeah.
defensively at all, and that's obviously not his calling card.
Mm-hmm.
But now with the Timberwolves, with Edwards and McDaniels and other wings, and obviously Gobert, who we'll talk about later. I think he can just be that spot up shooter that he was in San Antonio and Milwaukee, which was good. But it is just kind of funny, like I mean, that was just a bad trade at the trade deadline to get Bryn Forbes, and then Conley still wants him. Like, I mean, Conley has his favorites, man. He hates Malik Beasley, he hates Jared
Yeah.
but he loves his Bryn Forbes, that is for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. Do you want to move in that trade now? Uh,
Um. I'll talk. We'll talk. Let's talk about some of the other free agency stuff,
okay.
and then we'll get into trades because there are definitely some trade stuff to talk about, the Gobert stuff, and then the KD and Kyrie stuff. As we'll just go through kind of like the bigger free agents. We talked about Miles Bridges a little bit before on Wednesday when we did our stream. And he still is unsigned. It looks like the Hornets are gonna take away their qualifying offer as well, which is good because his wife, I believe, posted some very damning evidence of him abusing her and his kids, and it was just a very horrible situation, and it looked like it had been going on for a lot longer than had been let on. So I hope he does not get signed by anybody. I would be very disappointed in the NBA if he does.
Yeah. No, I don't think anyone's gonna sign him. Like I think I said that when the news came out, like you're just gonna have to wait out for the legal process to go until you sign him, because that's just way too.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just harm your name like that. I know the Browns kind of did, but I don't know. That was kind of a different situation. Like Deshaun Watson is a whatever. Never mind. No, the Browns look bad. I don't know why I did.
The Browns moved like it when they made the move for it. It was like okay, and then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And yeah, if a team does go for Miles Bridges right now, that would be really bad.
No, I don't think an owner or a GM is gonna tie their name to Miles Bridges right now. But yeah, he's definitely that. I mean, just horrible person.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, that was bad. Zach LaVine we talked a little bit about him. He did get the full 5-year, $215.2 million contract. That's a lot for Zach LaVine, especially for a team that is going to be pretty cap strapped soon in Chicago. But for teams who want to be great, you're going to have to overpay a little bit to keep your guys around. And I'm pretty sure they do have his bird rights as well, so it won't be as cap devastating as it would be if they signed him as an unrestricted free agent.
Mm-hmm.
Bradley Beal, he stays in Washington. He gets 5 years, $251 million, which is insane.
That's a lot, again.
Like it's a lot for Bradley Beal. Some people were like, "Oh, like Bradley, like he was so bad last year. He was injured. You don't use last year to judge him. He's an incredible player, an incredible scorer, but $250 million is a lot for a guy who honestly, without another star alongside him, hasn't been able to do anything. So I don't know. We'll see what Washington's direction is. We'll see if they make some more trades, if they sign some more people. So we'll see. A couple of other big names that are not signed. James Harden, but he is going to re-sign with Philadelphia. I think something devastating would have to happen for him not to. He's just taking a pay cut so they can figure out how to restructure the roster a little bit more. DeAndre Ayton's still unsigned, and that I assume ties in with the Kevin Durant trade request, because I'm sure Phoenix wants to do a sign and trade and get him to Brooklyn, but DeAndre Ayton has to want to go to Brooklyn for that to work, so he still remains unsigned. Obviously, Miles Bridges, Colin Sexton, which I'm honestly a little surprised about because he's still only 23 years old.
Yeah.
He's had a couple good years until he tore his ACL, MCL last year.
Yeah.
So I'm a little surprised by that, but same thing. He's restricted free agent, so I'm sure Cleveland, if they do want to keep him, they're just looking and waiting to see if he signs an offer sheet somewhere, or they are looking to see if he signs an offer sheet to match and then do a sign and trade. So yeah, those are the kind of the bigger ones.
Yeah.
And then I was surprised Mo Bamba re-signed, considering it looked like they wanted to trade him at the deadline, and all the reports said he was gone, but they keep him. Gary Payton, he goes to Portland, the guy who we wanted on Denver, but 3 years, $28 million, much more than Denver could have offered. I think that's a good. Portland's had a good offseason. I can't even lie. Like getting Jeremy Grant at first, I was like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. And then, they getting Shaedon Sharpe, keeping the 7th pick and planning on using it well. I really like that. And then Gary Payton, I really like that. They keep use of Nurkic around. So they've rebuilt the core around Damian Lillard. They kept Anthony Simons. So they kept all their big name free agents, and adding Gary Payton as defense around with Josh Hart and Nasir Little, guys like that. I think they'll be all right. Kyle Anderson going to Minnesota. Tim Conley finally signs a wing, and a good one at that. I think that's really good depth, especially considering that they traded all of it away for Gobert. Anderson's a really, really good pickup. What else? PJ Tucker going to Philadelphia. This one was weird. Like I don't know what you think, but like PJ Tucker's 37.
I know.
3 years is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like Daryl Morey is just kind of building up the Rockets. And I think he's just banking on that. Like, I know it was unsuccessful or whatever, until CP3 got there, but he's banking on that. Plus, you have, one of the best scoring big men of all time, like included in there. So he's probably banking on that working. And it definitely could work. Like the team is solid, but like adding PJ Tucker for this year is probably going to be great. But, if he starts to fall off a little bit, that looks like a pretty bad deal. Because it's going to be like 12 million probably when he's 40 years old.
Yeah.
And you don't know how much gas he has left in the tank. And he's played a lot of basketball games too over the past however many years, with all those playoff games. So yeah, not the greatest signing. I mean, I think it'll definitely help their team for this year, but the contract is just kind of weird.
Yeah. I like the fit. I honestly really like the fit with the team. A guy who does play good defense, even at age 37, he is a good defender, still can shoot the three really well, especially from the corners. He's obviously a winner literally everywhere he's gone. From Toronto, they made the conference finals with him. Then he goes to Houston, where they made the conference finals and take Golden State to 7 games. Then he goes to Milwaukee, wins a championship ring last year, goes to Miami last year, goes to game 7 of the conference finals. He obviously knows how to win. He knows what to do. And for a team looking to get over the hump, I think the signing's fine. It's just the money and the years is a little iffy. So that's my gripe with it, but I like that. Victor Oladipo, another guy Nuggets wanted, I thought could have gotten, but 1 year, $11 million, kind of a prove it deal. 11 million, definitely more than the Nuggets could have gave him. Gary Harris, another guy Nuggets would have wanted. He signs for 13 million per year over 2 years with Orlando again. Once again, more than the Nuggets could have offered. So just looking at the money that some of these other guys signed for, like the fact that Bruce Brown took a discount to
I
stay
know,
with
right?
Denver does say a lot. Like I really admire that about him. So I love that. Hardenstein, former Nugget, he goes to the Knicks. John Wall, I don't know if we talked about this. He went to the Clippers. He got his buyout from Houston. I don't know how that. I don't know what my opinion about John Wall is,
I
because
know, I don't either.
I haven't seen him play in so long. Like he played in the 2020-2021 season, but even then it was only like 40, 41 games. He didn't have the same burst, obviously, as he did in Washington. Last year he didn't play at all. So I don't know how that's gonna fit in like mesh.
Yeah, I don't know how it's gonna fit and mesh with Kawhi and PG. Like we've only seen John Wall we've only seen John Wall like be the guy on
Yeah.
each team, and then he's had, the co-star in Bradley Beal. But when he's not the guy, like what's gonna happen? Because he's not gonna get all these pick and rolls like he did in Washington. He's not gonna be the main. I don't think he's gonna be like the main facilitator. I think that'll probably be PG, or PG and Kawhi are gonna have the ball in their hands most of the time, I
Yeah.
think. And so is John Wall gonna be able to do something off ball? Like, I don't know, because he can't really shoot still.
Yeah.
So I don't know how effective he's gonna be off ball unless he's just a big body, like cutter against smaller point guards. But that'll be interesting. We'll see. His defense definitely has taken steps back with his athleticism compared to the days in Washington. So we'll see how that looks. But if he can be effective in transition and push the ball up the court after a rebound or something, then that's a fine signing. But
Yeah.
I just don't know what his role is going to be. Do you bring him off the bench? I wouldn't mind that at all.
Because that's what I think. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I think Reggie Jackson is better than John Wall at this point in their careers. Reggie Jackson, the last 2 seasons with Los Angeles, has been phenomenal, and he's grown a lot as a playmaker, as a ball handler. I think he's a much better shooter than than John Wall is. I think he fits better with the starting lineup. So I think bringing him off the bench is preferable, but we'll see how it works. I don't remember what the deal was in Houston. Because he wanted to play, the front office wanted him to play, but he didn't. I don't know if it's because he wanted to start and the front office wanted him to come off the bench, or if he wanted to be on the bench and the front office wanted him to start. Something, I don't know, something like that was the issue. So if he can figure out a role and like you said, push the ball in transition and just like keep the pace high, I think he'll be good. But yeah, it's just we haven't seen him play. We've played him 40 games in like 3-4 seasons. For a guy who's making $47 million a year, like that is hard. That's hard to watch, or hard to make a judgment on, at least.
His last full year was 6 years ago, 2016. God. So like,
yeah, I saw stat news. They were like,
God,
John Wall's last full season is like 23-10. Can he get back to this? It was like that was during the Obama administration. Man.
That was when he was 25 years old. He's now 31. Like that was such a stupid stat, because they made it sound like, oh, just last year, this is when like that's what they made it sound like. It's so like out of context. But yeah, we'll see. I think definitely off the bench is the best move, because he'll be I guess he can be the main creator off the bench. But yeah, I think it's just a low risk kind of signing.
Definitely low risk. If he doesn't, turn out to be that good, you can always cut him. He signed for the MLE, so it's not like he's taking up a huge chunk of salary and not going to be in dead cap for that much. So yeah, you can definitely just cut him if you need to.
Yeah.
I think that's most of the bigger side. Harold, Montrezl Harrell,
the Kings.
Malik Monk, yeah, he goes to the Kings. The Warriors did lose a couple big
Yeah.
pieces. Obviously, lost Gary Payton. They also lost Otto Porter, a guy who started a lot of games in the playoffs for them. Started the last few games in the finals for them. He goes to Toronto on a 2-year deal, and they were able to keep Kevon Looney, but those are two impactful defenders that they lose. And I think they're still in great shape because Jonathan Kuminga can probably fit into the Otto Porter role pretty easily, and you obviously still have Moses Moody waiting in the wings. So you should be fine. But those are two pretty impactful rotation players that the defending champs have lost.
Yeah. They did resign, not resign. They signed Dante DiVincenzo though.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good signing for them. I mean, if he can just, play his role in Golden State, State like so many other players have, because he's got potential as a defender and he can definitely shoot. Even though his shooting splits were terrible last year, I just think he was kind of in a bad situation in Sacramento. But
Yeah.
in Golden State, he's going to have a ton of open looks, like Otto Porter, like Gary Payton, in the corners and stuff. So I think that's a pretty effective signing for them. And we'll see what they can do. I think they'll probably add like another piece too. I'm blanking on the names, but there's definitely other guys out there who can make like a good signing for the Warriors.
Yeah, they still do have a bit of the MLE to
Mhm.
use because DiVincenzo signed for like a pretty low salary. Yeah, 2 years, 9.3. So they still have about 4 million of that MLE to use. So they could definitely go for some other guys. But yeah,
Like guys I was thinking was like Serge Ibaka,
yeah.
would be a good fit, I think.
Mhm.
I mean, even like Avery Bradley's out there. Um, there's some guys.
Yeah. There's definitely some impactful players that they can get, and especially for Golden State. I mean, we've seen how they've been able to just squeeze out talent out of nowhere, seemingly.
I know. Like I'm looking at like where is he? Jarrett Culver. Could they make him good?
Yeah.
Like even Kessler Edwards, I feel like could have a good role there. Yeah, there's players.
Yeah. There's
Blake
for sure
Griffin.
players. Who?
Blake Griffin, I think would be a great fit.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised he has. I know wasn't like great in Brooklyn, but every time I saw him play in Brooklyn, he played well. Like I don't know what it was last year because I know season before, when he got the buyout from Brooklyn, or from Detroit and signed with Brooklyn, he was great. He was starting games for them. He played well. He shot the 3-ball well, but I don't know what happened last year. I didn't watch a lot, but every time I watched him, I thought he was fine. But I think
Yeah, I
that's
mean he's a good playmaker. I feel like that would
yeah.
fit with the Warriors. Like he does those like fake dribble handoffs a lot and then slams it. Like Draymond Green-esque. So yeah, I don't know why. But I think he would be a good signing for them.
Yeah. I think that's it for the free agency stuff. But there were some trades. I think we'll start with the trade that actually happened. Rudy Gobert to the Minnesota Timberwolves for just a ridiculous amount of package, like a huge package. Patrick Beverley, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, and their first round pick from this year, which was Walker Kessler, plus three unprotected first round picks, a top 5 protected pick, and a draft swap, all for Rudy Gobert, which is just that is ridiculous. I think Gobert has become very undervalued around the NBA. I don't think he's become underrated, but in terms of his defensive value, I think he's definitely become it's a lot lower than it actually is because of how the team around him has performed in the postseason. But this much is that is insane. That's essentially 6 picks if you count Walker Kessler for Rudy Gobert. I mean, you are banking on this team being a force for a long time, making this trade. So I don't know what I can't like rationalize giving up that much for.
Yeah, I mean,
Gobert.
unless it ends up in a championship, like
Yeah,
I don't think it's ever worth it to give up that many picks. I mean, yeah, that is insane. Um, wow. The Jazz did a really good job, or I think. Hold on. All right, there we go. That was weird. I could not like breathe, but yeah, the Jazz did a great job. Uh, and like we'll see if they trade Donovan Mitchell, because like I mean this trade just messed up the whole trade market. It feels like with
Yeah.
Kyrie and KD about to get traded, and then Donovan Mitchell too. Like maybe Danny Ainge wants, like five unprotected first round picks for Donovan Mitchell. So yeah, it's crazy. Like Tim Conley had never done a huge trade with the Nuggets. I guess Aaron Gordon was pretty big, but obviously nothing on this caliber. But he finally pulled the trigger here. I think it is interesting because he hasn't developed those relationships with the players like he
Yeah.
did in Denver, which was definitely like a holding the team back a little bit with in terms of lack of trades and lack of getting rid of players and stuff to make the team better. But he did it here. I mean, obviously the Wolves are going to be better next year than they were this year. They're going to be scary. I think the Towns Gobert front court pairing is actually like a perfect fit
Yeah.
if Towns can just stay on the perimeter. That's all he has to do anyways because he doesn't like being down low, obviously. I mean, if he can just be a shooter, stretch four-ish type of guy, with crazy scoring ability and shooting ability, and then defensively, like he can be on the perimeter too. Because I think he's better defending on the perimeter than he is defending inside the paint,
Yeah.
because of his lack of strength. But now he doesn't have to guard the paint with Gobert. So yeah, I think it's a great fit for the team, but this is definitely, I mean, this like as I said, this amount of picks is really only worth it if it gives you a championship level ceiling. And I don't know if this team is championship ready yet.
Yeah. And I think it all depends on Anthony Edwards. It depends on his development. Obviously, he took a step last season after already being really good his rookie year. If he can take the leap into all-star, all-NBA caliber this season, which he 100% has the talent to do, I think they'll be on the right track. But I mean, this is because like the issue with Utah with Gobert was that they didn't have the perimeter defenders surrounding him to make him truly be great. Um, and obviously, like he helped so much to make that defense good. Like there were so many straight line drives that he was able to on help defense or just like at the rim making it a contested shot, a deflection, or a block. Like he did so much at the rim, but everything was just funneled towards him. And I think you just traded your two best defenders of Minnesota, like Beverly and Vanderbilt. Those are your two best defenders on the roster for Gobert, who is going to help. And I think you're right. Like the fit both offensively and defensively with Towns is phenomenal. But it's just like the fit with everybody else. Like Edwards, he's athletic enough to be a good defender, but he hasn't really shown the ability to be great yet. D'Angelo Russell is not a good defender. The really only competent guy outside of Gobert in the starting lineup now is Jaden McDaniels. Kyle Anderson helps, but I mean, who like Torian Prince is not like, I mean, he's okay, he's average, but he's not a plus defender. Do you trust Wendell Moore to step in right away and be a great defender immediately? Like Jordan McLaughlin in playoff situations, he could take an
I know
advantage.
Jalen Noel is a pretty terrible defender too.
Yeah, like I think it's going to be tough, and because of Gobert's massive contract, and you just signed Towns to an extension too for over 200 million, you're putting so much money in those guys, and you're going to have to sign Edwards to a max contract extension after next year. That filling out the roster is just going to be kind of hard, and I think that's going to be the main issue. Like I think the regular season, this team's going to be phenomenal. Like it's going to be so hard to score on them interior because of just the size. Like you're not going to get a rebound on this team either.
Yeah.
Because Gobert was the best rebounder in the league last couple of seasons, and Towns is a 7-footer too. So like even if he doesn't get the rebound, Towns is going to be right there. But there are certain matchups that I think are going to be bad because of the fact that if you're going to have if there's a team that can play small ball against this lineup like Golden State, if they face them in the second round, if they're able to make it that far, and Golden State runs small ball, and you're forcing Gobert and Towns to just chase these guards around the perimeter and play drop coverage, like they're screwed. They're screwed. But in the regular season, definitely good. It's a swing for the fences type of trade, which, like I've said a lot before, I can respect. It's definitely just like odd. I didn't expect it to be that much of a package.
I definitely thought Gobert was going to like the Bulls, especially like during the playoffs and stuff, or during the finals. Like it seemed like Gobert to the Bulls was almost like a guarantee, but yeah, this one kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. I don't really know. Maybe there were a little bit of talks up prior to it happening, but I mean, it's interesting. I like when teams just, go out of the box because, the game is always changing. Like, how come this whole wings phenomenon wasn't that big of a thing until now? And then, the big men were terrible before Jokic and Embiid and Towns came to the league. And now the big men are back and maybe they're more valuable than perimeter players. You don't really know. But the game is always changing. And I like this because this is, brand new in this age of basketball. You had Duncan and Robinson and Dirk and Tyson Chandler, which is kind of similar to this with the defensive, offensive type of thing. But this is pretty much brand new, like in the last decade.
Yeah, it's brand new because of how good both are. Like having two all-star centers, honestly, has not happened since Duncan and Robinson in the late 90s, early 2000s. It does kind of remind me. I think obviously Tim Connelly was still a part of the Nuggets during the bubble run, and a big part of that Lakers championship team was that they started a center alongside Anthony Davis so that Anthony Davis could play the perimeter more. And I think this move kind of is what they're trying to do, allowing Karl Anthony Towns to play on the perimeter more, play to his strengths, which is his jump shooting. I mean, he's phenomenal. He's one of the best jump shooters in the NBA, and he's probably the best big man shooter since Dirk, if not better than Dirk, just based on percentages and volume. But I think that's what they're trying to do. You involve Gobert in pick and rolls a lot more. The spacing is just a lot better because of that. So I like it, the fit. It's just it's just tough to see in a playoff series how it's going to work, especially because they don't really have the depth anymore to be able to compete with a top level team. And I'm just looking at this from a Nuggets perspective. It doesn't really move me because Jokic, I think Gobert really was able to play well against Jokic when they had Derek Favors on the team too, and he could play weak side help and kind of trap him with two bigs, and it made Jokic really uncomfortable. But he's evolved so much since then. That was 3-4 years ago, and he's just he has so many counters. His passing is so much better. That it doesn't really move me. And I think defensively, I think Aaron Gordon honestly can guard. I think he can guard Towns pretty well. I think we saw last year Desmond Bane and Kyle Anderson were able to play good defense on Karl Anthony Towns in the post with not that much effort. So I think Denver's going to be fine just from a Nuggets fan perspective, but from an NBA perspective, this is pretty that's a very intense trade.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This whole season is just fun. Obviously with the Nuggets back in it, hopefully, you're praying. I saw Michael Porter's dad said that Porter is feeling good or something, or he's working really hard to. I think he's good. I think he's good right now. He's just working hard to get back in shape or whatever. But I think he's been in Denver pretty much his whole time, just working.
Yeah, I really like that. I really love that aspect about players because a lot of players will go back home. Jamal Murray, I mean, he's with the Canadian team right now and they're traveling, but normally he will go back to Canada. Bones went to Philadelphia, Baltimore, Delaware, where he's from. But a lot of other guys are starting to stay in Denver to work out. Like MPJ has been in Denver for most of this time. Davon Reed has been in Denver this entire time. Monte Morris was in Denver until he got traded. Like I really like that aspect of staying here and being involved with the team.
Yeah, I do too.
That.
And Bones is back now.
Yeah, Bones is back. He's playing with the summer league guys, which will be interesting. There was some other trade stuff, just some minor stuff. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving are gone.
Minor.
Some minor things, yeah. That came out of really. I mean, when Kyrie accepted his player option, I was like, okay, they're staying. Like they're gonna run it back for probably another year and see what happens. If they make it far, maybe Kyrie resigns. If they flame out early again, like they have the last 2 seasons, it's like they're gonna blow it up. But it looks like they're gonna blow it up early. And like you said, this Gobert trade really messes up the market because you get essentially 6 picks for Rudy Gobert. What is Kevin Durant's package? I mean, there's never been a player of this caliber on the trade market, like legitimately. Like obviously, there's been free agents that have been this high. Like Kobe Bryant's been a free agent. LeBron James, obviously, with the decision. But in terms of trading for a guy, Kevin Durant is probably the most coveted free agent or most coveted trade asset in NBA history. And the Rudy Gobert trade is really going to mess it up because now it looks like I think there's a lot of reports going around, but it looked like Brooklyn wanted Devin Booker in return, which like I understand because it's Kevin Durant, but at the same time, it's like he's not going to go there if Devin Booker's not there. He doesn't want to go to Miami if Adebayo is involved in the deal.
So annoying, dude. I know.
And it's like what is a package going to look like? So they would likely have to rope a third team into it, and probably trade both Kevin Durant and Kyrie at the same time. Maybe even Ben Simmons, so they can get a rookie contract, max rookie contract back.
I hate all these like little like niche rules in the NBA, dude.
I didn't know that was a thing. Like
I didn't either, but there's so many dumb rules like that. Like all these trade exception contracts, all these mid-level, all this stuff. It's just like, what is all this? And then all these trades, all these restrictions on trades. You can't trade back-to-back first-round picks. Why not?
Yeah.
You can in any other league. All like it's not like a hard cap like the NFL. They're just all these like complicated terms and rules, which are just like, why can't you have 2 rookie scale max contracts on the same team that you trade for? What? Who even thought of that?
Yeah.
Like you had to be like on some sort of drug to even like think about that.
It's such a random rule. Like I don't think it's ever been an issue until this trade right now. Like what else? Yeah. Like how else would this even have been a problem?
Like what do you, I literally I don't see the issue. And I guess I can see the whole first round pick thing because you want the teams to, at least every other year they get a young player.
Yeah.
And you can't just spam these picks to trade for good players.
But, like the Rams.
Yeah. Because the Lakers would be trading it every single year.
Yeah.
So I guess I can see that for sure in the NBA. NFL is different just because there's so many players on a team and whatever. It's just different. But yeah, I can see it for the NBA, but I don't understand this whole rookie max contract thing you trade for. Like, is it to just de-incentivize rookies who signed a max contract? Is it to de-incentivize them like requesting trades?
I don't even know. Like I can't even like think of like an issue with it. Because if you sign a rookie max extension, like you're gonna stay. Like I don't think there's a player in NBA history who was like, you know what, I'm signing this contract and then I'm requesting a trade at the deadline to a team that has a young guy who I played with.
I know.
Like they would wait a little bit at least.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. I really have no clue why it's an issue. But it does throw a wrench in so many teams' plans.
Oh my god!
To get this because the Suns can still. They do have a chance. I think they probably have the best chance to be able to get KD because they have the opportunity to do a sign and trade with DeAndre Ayton.
Can Bridges be traded?
He's not on a max, so yeah.
Oh,
That's
it's
why.
only Mac. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's only max extensions. And he's on like a 4-year 80 something. Um,
So
so
how would Aiton be able to be traded
because
though?
it's a sign and trade, he's technically signing with Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's not a rookie scale extension. It's a free agent deal. Um, like if they had traded him this year, if they had signed him to the extension before the season last year,
Yeah.
and they traded him this year, then it wouldn't work. But
Yeah, that
it's
makes
a
sense.
little
No, I mean,
different.
like, see, like,
It doesn't like matter. Like I don't know
I
why
know.
it's such an issue. But like so I think Phoenix still has the best chance because I think they can put together the best package of players without including a rookie skill max player like Devin Booker, because they can put in um, Aiden in the sign and trade. You put in Mikal Bridges, who was going to have to be in it, and then maybe like Cam Johnson or some other younger player that you have on the team, and then a few picks. And you get Kevin Durant, probably a salary for like a Joe Harris, maybe. I don't know.
Mhm.
I haven't checked the trade machine on it yet, but something like that I think is probably the most realistic offer that the Nets are going to get, because like KD wants to go to the Heat, but like he's like, I'm only going there if Lowry, Butler, and Bam are all in the team. He's like, are you serious? Like, first off, that's unbelievable front running, and
Yeah.
two, that's just like that's not going to happen. That's impossible. That's not going to work. Like Brooklyn's not going to accept Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson and 2 first-round picks. That's just they're not going to take that. So that rookie extension rule screws up so many teams, and it screws up Denver. If Denver wanted to get in,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Woj said, like 20 minutes after the trade request was announced, Woj was like, yeah, like half the league's already called. I was like, yeah, it's Kevin Durant, of course. Like I'm sure Denver has talked about it internally. It's like, hey, how do we do this? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what like and Mike Singer tweeted, it's actually funny. He's like I'm not one to believe all the conspiracies, but Denver drafted a guy who is very close friends with Kevin Durant and Peyton Watson. He said they talk almost daily.
Right.
And then you signed DeAndre Jordan as one of his best friends, sign a former teammate in Bruce Brown, and you already have a good friend of his in Jeff Green. So it's like, what's going on?
Yeah,
But
but the problem is you can't trade your
you can't
two
trade. You can't
on
trade
all
either Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. because Ben Simmons is still on the freaking Nets, and he has a rookie extension. So do MPJ
Ben
and Jamal.
Simmons, of course. It's all
Yeah,
Ben
of course.
Simmons.
It all comes back to Ben Simmons.
You're the poor guy, man. Everything is his problem.
Like I like feel bad. Like this is not his fault whatsoever. Like there's no way that like.
But like people are mad at him because it's like he's the one holding the whole trade up.
Yeah.
Like they gotta just get rid of Ben Simmons now.
I've seen a lot of trades where it's like Donovan Mitchell to Brooklyn, KD to like Toronto, Ben Simmons to Utah, like a bunch like Kyrie to LA or something, and then a bunch of others like OG and Scotty Barnes to Brooklyn as well.
Yeah, I feel like the Raptors are the only team, not the only team, the kind of the best like package because damn, is Siakam on the rookie max contract though?
Oh, I don't know.
I
I
don't
haven't
know,
heard like Siakam be.
yeah, I don't think
Guys
he'd
they
be
can
traded
trade.
anyways, but like I think the Raptors can do it with Barnes and OG and even like Fred. I don't think they would trade Fred, but
Yeah.
they have all their picks too, and Masai Ujiri's done it before, obviously with Kawhi Leonard, and they won a championship. So like, why would he not do it again if that ended in a championship? It seems like he would definitely be inclined to do it again, and they've been getting a ton of buzz recently. Like their odds are just shooting up. So I feel like it's like the Suns or the Raptors kind of that have the most like that make the most sense, I guess, with the whole Ben Simmons rule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean the Suns contender wise they would be top. I don't know if the Raptors would be like obviously it's Kevin Durant, but he's 34 years old. Would he make Toronto like an instant contender if he went there? I don't know because if you're giving up Scotty Barnes, OG, and probably another important depth piece, Like, what else is there on that roster? You keep that young, and you get Otto Porter, but then that roster's it's still looking a little thin because you have got like your main roster is like it's Fred and maybe Gary Trent if he's not included in the deal, Kevin Durant, Siakam, and then like Khem Birch or something, or maybe like Boucher if you want to start him and just go like full on wings. But like even like is that like a top contender in the East? I mean, they played really really well this year. They were a 5 seed, but like, does that make them a top contender in the East? Does it make them a top contender in the NBA? I don't know. Like Kevin Durant's a phenomenal player, but with his age, and I don't know. I think obviously because it's Kevin Durant, you're going to want to be engaged in a conversation about it. But I don't know if the Raptors would be smart to do it. Not because Kevin Durant's like bad or anything, but because the rest of the roster around them, especially giving up a lot of important depth pieces, I don't think it would be good enough to compete fully. But I don't know. It's such a. I mean, this is such an unprecedented trade request that it's really weird. Plus, he's not most stars will trade requests on an expiring. He has 4 years left on his contract. Like he's going to be going into the first season of a $193 million extension. So like teams are going to trade. Like the Nets are going to want a lot in return because you're getting 4 years of Kevin Durant. Which is obviously going to help. So it's just so weird. And the Kyrie Irving side of it is it's weirder because like I would think that there's more teams interested, but it looks like it's just the Lakers. And I think it's just because Kyrie wants to go there, and like if he goes anywhere else, he's just going to leave because he only has 1 year left.
Yeah.
Which sucks. But it's
just it's crazy how he's just like getting everything he wanted. Like, now he's gonna make the 38 million and be traded to the Lakers. Like, it seemed like the choice was you can go to the Lakers for $6 million, but no, he's somehow finessing his way there, being different and getting 37 million and forcing his way to the Lakers. Kind of sad, but I mean, it's Kyrie and it's KD, and they're kind of a sad people, but
the weirdest part is like the trade package for him is gonna suck.
I
know. Lakers don't have anything to give.
And then I saw that they're like talking about like, oh, we want Seth Curry instead of Joe Harris. Like, why do
take Joe Harris? Like, take what you can get. Like, you're gonna get off Westbrook's contract. You're gonna improve
that. But how do the Lakers have any say in this, dude?
I don't know how they have any leverage. I don't know.
They don't have any leverage. Like, the Nets should just be like, all right, Westbrook, like 4 first-round picks, Reeves, that's it. That for Kyrie, that's all. I mean, you're not getting Harris or Curry, like.
Yeah, it's so weird. And the Woj said pretty recently, like an hour or so ago, he was like, the Lakers have yet to be aggressive in them. They're kind of just like, at least from the gist of it, is like, you know what, he's gonna come here anyway, just like take what you can get. And the Nets are like, no. So good on the Nets that they're gonna
I don't know, but like Chris Haynes was reporting that they're really aggressive, so I don't know who's right, who's wrong, but it seems like everything goes down July 4th in like previous days. So like, I feel like tomorrow could definitely be the day for Kyrie. I feel like the KD thing might drag out a little bit, but I feel like Kyrie could be coming up soon.
Yeah. I think it was Dallas said that they're not even like trying to get Kyrie Irving, which to me is dumb because you should go for him. You lose Brunson, and really the only move you make in free agency is signing JaVale McGee. You don't get Goran Dragic, who is still I think an impactful player at this point. And I thought he was going to go to the Mavs last year because of his connection with Luka. And then I thought he was going to go this year also because of his connection with Luka, and he didn't. He goes to Chicago, and it's like what are they doing? Are they just waiting to make a move? Are they like waiting? Do they have some sort of sign and trade done with maybe Colin Sexton, or are they somehow in the Ayton sweepstakes? Are they figuring something out? I don't know, but like they have to make a move soon because losing Brunson and adding Christian Wood, like that's as neutral of a move I think as you could possibly make. Like you are not going to be any better than you were last year. If anything, you're going to be worse because you have less ball handlers around Luka to help him out, and it's going to be solely on him in the starting lineup. And
I know.
that
I
is,
mean, yeah. I think the Mavericks should make a move too. I don't really know, but
yeah, I think that's really dumb that they're not doing anything. I'm sure they're talking about it and they're planning something, but like I thought there were a lot of players that they could have gone out and gotten to help, at least. So we'll see. But yeah, July 4th is tomorrow. This is a recording, not a stream. So if something does happen, which it tends to the day after we do something, that would be very unfortunate. So we'll see. Hopefully, I don't know. It's been really, really quiet. Nothing has really happened since the Gobert trade.
yeah.
So something is definitely happening. Windhorse meme. Something's going on.
There's something. We need to just connect the dots somewhere.
Yeah.
There's
this is so fun. Like he was right, but the way that he was talking about
I know.
so funny. He was spot on. He's like, Russell O'Neal, strange trade. Strange trade. And then they're like, what's going on in Utah? And then he's talking like he's the Godfather. And then Gobert gets traded, and you're just like, what? So weird.
It's crazy how everything matched up with the same thing in Boston, like with the first time head coach getting a big deal, and then them trading away some random guy for a pick, and then they trade Paul Pierce and KG and all of them. And it's the same thing with Utah, but like it adds up though. That's what I'm saying. Like I should have seen that coming. Like if they're trading their best perimeter defender for a pick, like that should be an obvious tell that they were going to trade Gobert or Mitchell. Like I mean, everyone should have seen that coming from like a mile away with that random trade. But I feel like that trade was like tough because it happened at the exact same time as all the KD stuff too.
Yeah,
like it was like right before KD did the trade request, so nobody like cared about the trade. People were like, "How did Utah get a first round pick out of this?" But no one really aligned that it was leading to Gobert.
Yeah,
Brian Windhorst.
So on it, they got 7 picks that day. That's insane for 2 players. That's 7 picks.
It's Danny Ainge.
Danny Ainge, man. That man.
He likes his picks.
That man loves his picks.
But somehow he messes stuff up later on. So
yeah,
I'm not too worried about the Jazz because he'll do something stupid.
But. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they do. There was another trade, so I guess kind of coincidentally involving the Celtics. Malcolm Brogdon did get traded there, which I think is a perfect because they didn't give up any. They didn't give up Smart. They didn't give up Derek White. They didn't give up like, important players. They gave up like Tice, Pritchard, and like Fitz and Juwan Morgan. Like it's just like guys who weren't really playing that much anyway. And a first, and they get Malcolm Brogdon, who I think was a perfect fit. He's a guy who can get downhill, score his own buckets, but he is a pure point guard. Like he's a very, very good playmaker. Guy can set an offense. Exactly what I think both of us wanted them to do. Like they needed somebody, a point guard like that. And the fact they were able to keep Marcus Smart in it, beautiful. They want to keep him as a 6-man though, which I think is a little weird because they want to keep running the 2 big man lineup. But I don't know if that. I mean, in regular season, sure, but I think in closing lineups, Brogdon with Smart, Tatum, Brown, and then either Horford or Williams, whoever's playing better. Like that's one of the best 5-man lineups you're going to have in the entire NBA. So Boston is retooling, and they're going to be another championship contender next year.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was a perfect trade. But
yeah,
I mean, really nothing else to say to it.
Yeah. Warriors stars are talking to Kevin Durant. They're open to the idea of a reunion. It's highly unlikely as team may not want to pay the hefty price.
That would be funny, not gonna lie.
if he went back to the Warriors and Kyrie reunites with LeBron, the simulation is completely broken. Wow. They got to restart 2K, something like
Then Jokic just destroys it all, messes the whole simulation up.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. Like this is kind of what the Avs did a little bit. Like last year they had such a talented roster. They had so many guys who were just like really talented guys, but they didn't fit very well. And the Avs retooled and they got guys who fit the identity of the team a lot better. And look at that, they win a championship. I think Denver is kind of doing the same thing. They retool it because Monte Morris and Will Barton are 100% more talented than KCP and Ish Smith.
Yeah.
The KCP fits the team a lot better than Will Barton. You're able to get Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, guys who fit the team a lot better than some of the guys you let go, like Fox, Cooper, and Forbes. Like those type of guys. Like I think Denver's retooling in a very similar way. So I'm really excited to see that. Really excited to see Summer League that started this week. Stan Kroenke was at practice today. Finally realizing that he owns the Nuggets and he can be involved in some capacity.
I didn't realize the facility just sucks, probably.
Yeah. It's probably like the first time he's walked in, he's like, oh my God, what is this?
Is this my high school?
I'm glad to see that he's involved. He won 2 chips and he's like, man, if I like try, wow. I know, right? I'd be pretty good at this.
Greedy. Yeah. I mean, he's rich. He's clearly greedy. Now he's greedy for championships.
Yeah.
So.
What darkest timeline are we in that Stan Kroenke is turning into a good owner?
I don't know. Let go of Tim Connolly for Calvin Booth. Hey.
It worked out.
I know. It's working.
Yeah. I'm really excited for Summer League. Peyton Watson's the guy I'm most excited to see. First game is on Friday. Yeah, he's going to be interesting. He's going to be fun to watch. Colin Gillespie's going to be fun to watch. Denver's Summer League roster is interesting. Yeah. Adonis Arm, because they still have a 1-2-way roster spot open. And all those guys are going to be competing for it. Guys like Adonis Arms, Teddy Allen, a lot of Jonte Porter, Michael Porter's brother. He's on the team. Kellen Grady. There's some guys from like Australian national team who are playing. Kamagate is going to be playing. I'm excited to see him. A lot of guys, a lot of interesting guys. Yeah. Most interesting summer league that Denver's going to have in a long time. So that'll be fun. Yeah, I think that's it for now. If something big does happen, we will definitely talk about it. If KD, Kyrie get traded in some insane trade, we will definitely get on a stream or a recording, talk about that, the impact of it. So yeah, if you did make it this far, we have a TikTok. It's called, you should follow it because there's some videos going on. Hold on, I don't even remember the username. It's great marketing strategies. The Sideline, ANR, like A and then N and R. Go follow that. Some videos up on there, please. Gain some traction on there. Putting up some I
see clips. They've been going pretty crazy.
The views have been going good. Yeah, the likes not so much, but the views are there. That's all that matters. So please make sure to get those up. But yeah, I think that's it for me. Unless you got anything else.
Nah, I'm good.
All right. Peace.